So far we have done our 8086 assembly language programs in our 8086 trainer kit. In this case we will specify a starting address and then we will enter our assembly language program line by line. In the case of this, the trainer kit available in our lab, that contains a line assembler, and that line assembler will assemble each line and then generate corresponding machine code, and that will be stored into the memory. So this will be done in a line by line manner, that is we will enter each line and then that will be assembled, then next line, like that. So here the memory allocation is actually done by manually, that is we will specify the starting address from where we will assemble our program. Okay, and after entering the program we will enter the input data for our program by using some other command, that is show byte command, and then we will enter the input data directly into the memory. So the memory protection will also be done by manually, that is we will specify the starting address of the code segment and also starting address of the data segment. Okay. Next is how to similarly, after executing the program, the output will also be checked by looking into the memory location. Okay. Next is how to execute our 8086 assembly language programs in our computer system. For that purpose we need a full-fledged assembler, and in our case we are using an assembler MASM, that is Microsoft Macro Assembler, that is mentioned in your syllabus. 8086 programs are 16-bit programs. So to execute these 16-bit programs we need a 16-bit DOS environment. But our machine has Ubuntu as the operating system. So next is how to create a DOS environment in our Ubuntu machine. So there is a software, emulator software, DOSBox. This is DOSBox is an emulator program that emulates an IBM PC compatible computer with DOS operating system. So with the help of this, or this will act as a virtual machine, with the help of this DOSBox we can execute our 8086 based programs. So next is how to set up DOSBox in Ubuntu. We can install the DOSBox from Ubuntu Software Center. So we can simply search DOSBox. So this is our DOSBox emulator. So I have already installed this software. Otherwise you can install from here. Here I already installed, that is why launch is there. Okay. So you can install the software from Ubuntu Software Center. Then that will be available. That DOSBox will be available. We can take that software DOSBox emulator. DOSBox. Okay. This is our DOSBox emulator software. So we will get a DOS environment, and there will be some command prompt. And this Z is, that is a Z drive. This is actually a DOS a machine with a DOS. This window will act like a machine with a DOS operating system. So initially this will be in a command prompt with this Z. Z means Z drive. Okay. Next we have to explain how to access our Linux folders inside the DOSBox environment. So we have created a folder with HW lab in our Ubuntu home directory, and inside the hardware lab folder we have copied another our Masam assembler. Masam 611 is our assembler, Masam assembler, and this contains a number of folders, and a bin contains the bin folder inside the Masam 611 contains the commands which are used for assembling and linking our Masam assembly language programs. So two main commands are MASM command, that is used for assembling purpose, and link command, that is used for linking. Then a lot of other commands are also available. Mainly we are using these two commands. And one more command is ML command is also we can use. Okay, and that's about our assembler. So inside the hardware lab, the assembler folder, we have copied the folder containing assembler. Then one more file is there. We have created a file. This is our first assembly language program. The program, this file, this is a text file that contains a program, a small assembly language program. Okay, extension is .asm. Then next is how to connect this or how to access this hardware lab folder from our DOSBox environment. For that purpose, okay, that is connect our local folder to a virtual drive inside the DOSBox. We will first create a virtual drive inside the DOSBox, and then connect that virtual drive with our local folder, in our case hardware lab. So the command used for that purpose is mount command. We can use inside our DOSBox. This is used to connect physical folders and drives to virtual drives inside DOSBox. So the usage is mount, then virtual drive letter, then our local directory or folder. This is the folder present in our Ubuntu. For example, if we want to mount our hardware lab folder, then mount C. This is the virtual drive letter. We can use name starting from A to Z. Z is already used as some drive, so we can use letters starting from Z. But in this, we have to use only a letter, that is drive letter, single character. Then the complete path for our Ubuntu folder. How to get this complete path? You can simply go to your terminal, Ubuntu terminal, then cd HW lab. Now we are in HW lab. Just type pwd, that is present working directory. That will display the complete path for our folder. So this is our complete path: home, Irshad, hardware lab. Okay. So okay, mount, then virtual drive letter, complete path for our Ubuntu folder, hardware lab. Okay. This will mount the virtual drive C as our local directory. So the contents of local directory hardware lab will be available within through the virtual drive C, or the C and hardware lab will be the same. So from the DOSBox we can access the hardware lab through drive letter C. So okay, This is our DOSBox. Now this is our DOSBox. Okay. To mount we can use the command mount, then C, then complete path for our hardware lab folder, that is /home /irshad /hw lab. Enter. Now drive C is mounted as local directory home irshad hw lab. So please note that we have to use forward slash inside this path, but in the case of DOS or Windows, we have to use backward slash. That please note that, otherwise that will generate some error. Okay. Okay. Now the drive C is mounted as our local directory. Then to move into that drive, we can use, okay, otherwise if we want to display all the drives present within the in our DOS system, we have to just simply use mount, simply type mount, then that will display all the drives present within in our DOSBox system. C is there and Z is there. Okay. Then to move into, now we are in Z drive. To move into C drive, simply type the drive letter, then colon. Then this is actually DOS command, because the OS inside the DOSBox is DOS operating system, so we can use all the commands of DOS inside the DOSBox. So C colon. Now we have moved into C drive. Then another command inside the DOS is dir command. This is just like ls command that will list all the files and folders present within the C drive. So this will list masam 611, that is a folder, that is dir. Then first.asm, that is our file. Then another thing is, suppose if we are now we have access to the ubuntu folder and files inside our DOSBox, and if we are just going to our hardware lab, and I have just created another folder, suppose a folder with the name Hemang. A folder is created, and if we check that in our DOSBox, just we are typing dir again, then that folder is not displayed here, because once we have mounted we mounted C drive as a hardware lab folder. After that we have added this, what we'll say, we have created the contents to the, we have created contents to the to that folder outside the DOSBox. That will not be reflected here. We have created the folder through Ubuntu, that will not be reflected here. So to reflect that, or to refresh the our drive, we can use Control F4. Okay. So the mounted drive does not automatically refresh files changed outside of DOSBox. We can refresh these files on all mounted drives by activating the swap image event by pressing Control F4. Okay. So we are pressing Control F4, and now if we are pressing, if we are giving the command dir, then that folder is also displayed here. We can also create directories or folders from this DOS prompt itself. For that purpose we can use mkdir. Suppose I am creating mkdir and folder name new. This will create a folder inside our hardware lab. So if we just display, that will be reflected directly, because we are creating that folder through the DOSBox itself. Okay, then that's about how to create a virtual drive and to connect that virtual drive with our local folder. Then how to disconnect that connection, or how to unmount a virtual drive. For that purpose we can use the same mount command, but some other option. So we can use mount -u then drive letter. For example, mount -u c. Okay, to unmount a drive, virtual drive in DOSBox. So here we can use mount. Before that I will just show one more DOS command that we already know, that is a cd DOS command, change directory. If you want to move to some of the folders, then we can use the cd. Then suppose we want to move into Hemang folder, so cd Hemang, then we will move into that folder. Now we are currently we are in Hemang folder, and if we want to go back to the previous directory, cd then cd space dot cd space dot, then we will go back into our C itself. And if we want to change the drive letter, we will just type the drive colon. Now we are moved into Z drive, and if you want to again move into C drive, C colon. Okay, now to unmount we have to use mount -u drive letter C. So the drive C has successfully been removed. That means the connection will be detached. That hardware lab folder will be there in Ubuntu machine, but from the DOSBox that is removed. Okay, and if we try to access again the C drive, that will some error will be shown. Drive C does not exist, you must mount it first. Okay,